Like, what are you doing to prepare?
Finding a brick and mortar as quickly as I can.
What was like? How long would that take to build out and stuff, though?
Depends on the property, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think the most challenging part of it is finding a second-gen kitchen.
What does that mean?
So a second-generation kitchen means essentially it was a kitchen before you got to it.
Got it.
If I go to a strip mall right now and I rent out a space and it's never been a restaurant before, that means I am putting in a grease trap, which is in the tens of thousands. I am putting in hood vents, electrical requirements, plumbing requirements, gas lines. All of that can be an upwards of investment of that alone. The infrastructure is 500 probably, 500,000. And then anything cosmetic goes beyond that. It depends on the building, how old it is, where they have to bring it up to code. So finding second-gen kitchens are a huge commodity here in Austin, right? Because there's also lots of really powerful restaurant groups with capital that can snatch these properties up as soon as they come available. And they could sit on them if they don't even have a concept ready sometimes. So like the big cats like MMH, you know, they own Perla's, Neighborhood Sushi, Lambert's. They can sit on properties all day. And I think some people, I'm not fully familiar with the tactics of it, but I'm pretty sure some of them just write off properties as a tax loss. If they didn't make any money off the property and they just paid taxes on it all year, the corporation calls it a loss, right? So the second gen kitchens are a commodity. There's kind of two of them. In my short, brief experience now of finding and looking through property, there's kind of like, there's two kinds of properties, two kinds of second gen kitchens you're going to come across. One that requires a stupid amount of work, which is both money and time investment, or one that is ready to go but requires key money to get in, meaning someone just built it and their project failed and they want their money back before they give it to somebody else. So I'm looking at both approaches right now, and one is considerably more appealing to me than the other. The cheap entry is, I'm a destination restaurant. I don't need a fancy building. RDB is supposed to be a rustic, warm environment. I actually prefer that I find an old kind of rundown building. And all I have to do is make sure that the wooden accents are in place, the lanterns are in place, the warmth is there. And it doesn't matter how old the building is, because it's not supposed to feel like a pretentious, cold, elegant space. I don't need new. I need worn. That's what RDB is supposed to feel like. It's supposed to feel like a place you've already been coming to for the past 20 years.
You need like an old cantina.
So that was always kind of like the first thought as far as like what to look out for, but ultimately it's just not how it works. Like they don't just come available based on what you hope for. But yeah, if I could find like a Mexican restaurant that were to close down, pump it full of Japanese aesthetic, and that's like a 3 to 4 month turnaround. Some of the spaces, you know, that's the other big thing. If the project just requires aesthetics, it's a 3-month turnaround. Your liquor license takes 90 days. Your permits take 60 days. The construction better be done in that time. But then, you know, some projects take up to 6 months if you have to put in the infrastructure yourself, or more. You never know what kind of, especially with like some older buildings, like there was one property I was looking at over on Airport Boulevard, and I fell in love with it just based on the skeletal structure of what once was. And I was like, oh man, like I can see where the bar is, I can see how the kitchen layout would be, I see it all. And I'm ready to sign the property, and we had a proposed budget of getting everything ready to go for like $300K. And then a friend of mine sent me a quote they had received to bring the building up to code for $600K. And I was like, nope, can't do that. So we resubmitted the letter of intent to the landlord saying, hey, we are still interested in the property, but we need the property to be delivered up to code. And the broker said it is the landlord's intention to not hand it over up to code, which then means it's my job as a tenant to bring the building up to code while I pay for rent. I am then investing money in their building that when I leave, I take nothing with me, right? Because the way that like retail, like the way rent works, to my understanding, is like essentially anything that gets built onto the building doesn't leave with you, right? So I can, like, as far as like fixtures, furnishing and equipment, FF&E, if I spent $1 million on a property and say 500,000 of it was equipment, and all of that equipment can just be unplugged and wheeled out the building, I can take that with me. But if I spent $50,000 on cabinet work into the side of the wall, and it is permanently a fixture of the building, I can't take it with me. It is then property of the landlord.
That's fucked.
So they want someone to come in. Yeah. Yeah.
I guess this is here.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, granted, like you can put in like certain like probably like requests and specifics. Like, for example, if you took a loan out
Yeah.
from the bank, then technically the bank will insist that they have ownership of that shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, like if I build a beautiful ramen bar, I don't get to like carve it out of the ground and take it with me or anything.
Yeah.
It's part of the building. It's considered the landlord's after that, which is crazy because then like this one property that has like a $400,000 key money entry, I'm gonna spend that money and then get none of it back when I ever leave.
Yeah. The like rentals in Austin and buying property for like independent use or like personal use has absolutely skyrocketed in the last 3 years.
Right.
You know, in 2021 there was like at the peak there was like 100 available housing units for sale. Now there's over 12,000.
Wow.
So that's like massive residential.
Yeah.
So is commercial has not seen that? Or just not for kitchens?
No, commercial has not. I mean, it's specifically for kitchens. I mean, because commercial spaces for office and regular corporations, that's easy. Because look at all these big facilities they're building, like Oracle and all these big mega companies. They're building these massive plants out here. But the thing about second-gen kitchen spaces is that they're typically older buildings from a different era, and they're always under risk of being phased out for new development, or they just never change hands. I actually feel that there is an oversaturation of restaurants in the market. We actually have too many restaurants in Austin overall, because when you look at a market, if that many businesses are struggling, it's because there's not enough to go around. So, you know, ultimately, like I speak with like a few different vendors and my landlord, the owner of the market themselves, and, you know, like they're saying like all of these different, their customers, their wholesale customers are down overall. And I know that I'm not. I think kind of like the only lesson that I can kind of take from that analysis is like the restaurants that are struggling are all of the Vietnamese pho shops or all of the taco joints, because there's not a big enough demand for there to be that many locations. So the individual categories are oversaturated, whereas something like Ramen Del Barrio competes with only itself.